Hello. Merlin, is that you? Oh, I can't hear anything. Oh,
Hey,
there
Tiffany
you
here.
are. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm on. That is me. I am the host, but I forgot there's no microphone at this front desk.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fun. Yeah, we should maybe do something about that. That Brian has no camera, there's no microphone at the front desk.
I know.
You're echoing too. Do you know who's been coming on to these courses?
Hold on 1 second. It's
Sure.
echoing pretty hard here. Okay, that should be better.
Much better.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a handful of newer people on this one. It's been pretty good. I mean, the ignites from before, we've had maybe 2 or 3 people pretty consistent, but all the ones I've been on, at least, so the last maybe 3, we've had like 5 or 6 ish.
Okay.
So,
all right.
Decent.
That sounds good. Mm-hmm.
And are you cool with me running the slides, or do you want to share screen on your end and run the slides on your own?
No, you can run them.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing is, I need to look at the instructions manual, so I can't go through that many things at the same time.
Gotcha.
I mean, I guess I could, it just wouldn't be so smooth.
Yeah, I think there's like a 15-ish minute buffer time, so people should be trickling in next few minutes.
Good. I'll just review some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Tiffany.
Hi, Amber. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. It's actually Embe.
Embe.
Yes.
Nice to meet you, Embe.
Lovely to meet you.
All right. You know what? Maybe we'll wait 3 minutes. I don't really want to wait until 11:45. So we'll wait 3 minutes to let people trickle in, and then we'll get started. All right. So hi, everyone. I'm Tiffany Chin, and I was thinking that since this is the first class I'm teaching you guys, if you could, introduce yourselves, tell me, how long you've been with their office, how long you've been licensed, if you're coming from a different brokerage, and, what you're looking to get out of Ignite. Carlos, do you want to start since you've done this before? Are you there, Carlos? Oh, there you are.
Because I thought we had 15 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was that, Carlos?
I said I just walked in because I thought we had more minutes that you guys said. Can you repeat that?
Sure. Yeah, I was just I figured while we're waiting, if everyone could just introduce themselves, that would be helpful.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know who's been here, before and who hasn't. How long you've been in the office, what you're hoping to get out of Ignite, and if you're coming from another brokerage, which brokerage.
All right.
Just anything you want to tell me about yourself, really.
I'm Carlos. I've been at Keller Williams for, I would say, 2 years solid, on and off, like three and a half. Still trying to grind it. And I'm hoping to get a little bit of spark because I'm dropping the ball and playing too much golf. And I need to get back on the ball. Just to get more. And your classes are always pretty energetic and full of information.
Oh, thanks, Carlos. I'm glad to have you. Thanks for joining today.
You're welcome.
All right.
Hey, Tiffany, I could go.
Sure. Thanks, Embe.
So my name is Embe. I know it looks like Ember, but it's Embe. And I'm 2 months into KW Larchmont. So hoping to learn enough to build a solid foundation while building my business. And to learn as much as I can in these first few months.
Great. Thank you, Embe. And welcome.
Thank you.
Of course. Jenny, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name's Jenny. I've been with KW for, I think, about 3 months now. And I've periodically taken the Ignite classes, but I saw that you were talking today, and I know that you're like a top producer and doing really well. And so I just wanted to hear more about any advice you may give to help us along with the mentoring process.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm flattered. I hope you know, now I have to make sure that I actually deliver on something. Well, thank you, Jenny. It's lovely to meet you. All right, and so that's Merlin. And then Maury, do you want to introduce yourself?
I take myself off of mute. Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Maury Leitner. I joined Keller Williams last March. I'm new to real estate, but had a phenomenal year, phenomenal last 10 months, and I'm going to be named Rookie of the Year. And I took Ignite last year and thought, can't hurt to take it again and hear it another time. And just, you know, people ask me, you know, how did you do so well? It was just, you know, it's a second career for me, and I'm older, and I've spent 30 years building relationships, and it's everything everybody says. Get on the phone and make those calls and lead generate and do everything that all these classes teach.
Well, I'm glad you're here, Maury, and I hope that you get some kind of a spark from this too, as Carlos said. Yeah. Carlos, FYI, you are unmuted. I just wanted to make sure you didn't, you know, say anything crazy there and you didn't know.
Why would I? I've never said anything crazy in my life.
You know, you're a wild card. You just never know.
Never said anything crazy in my life.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for introducing yourselves. Some of you are already, we go way back now, but I've been with the office for 9 years now, going into my 10th year. I have only been with the Keller Williams Larchmont Market Center. And what can I tell you? You know, it's been a great community to be a part of. And I love that it's very education based. We continue to learn and grow together. And, you know, and it's great that people are so supportive of each other. I hope that I'm able to lend some kind of an insight into the real estate career here, and, you know, give you a little bit of a spark here. All right, and it would be helpful if this were a little bit more participatory. So, you know, if you feel like, you know, you want to turn on your camera, that'd be great. I won't judge what you look like. And, you know, just jump in and ask questions whenever. Just try to, you know, please do keep on topic. Let's not problem solve specific deals or anything at this time, so that we can, you know, be respectful of each other's time. All right. Okay, so today what we're going through, what we're learning is deliver your value proposition. So going through, I think Merlin's going to be running the slides for us. Thank you, Merlin. So, you know, I'd be curious to know if anyone would like to share what they've been grateful so far in this learning journey. Is there anything that you've taken from Ignite that particularly struck your chord? No. Hi, Lance. Maury, were you going to say something?
Well, it's not necessarily one overall. I would say overall is just, you hit the nail on the head with education. And I always feel how wonderful for Keller Williams that, you know, these classes are all free and we get an education, which is great. But I would say there's an aha or something in each class that I've taken that I take away from it. You know, just hearing it again, whether it's, you know, I think it's human nature to get so close. You can't see the forest for the trees. And we're so close to the doing every day, lead generating, marketing, going out on showing, that I think these classes for me help me step back and take an objective look and measure myself against the overall, where do I want to be? What do I want to do? Get back to the basics. What is my unique selling proposition? So each class has some sort of aha for me.
Good, great. Thanks for sharing. And even just taking one nugget from each class will bring you one step closer, right? Okay, so today our focus is really on you and the value you bring your customers, your community, and your business. So we call this your value proposition. And in this session, we hope that you'll be able to have the opportunity to define and declare what your value proposition is, bring some clarity to what that'll be. So what successful agents do every day. So the secret to being a successful real estate agent is that there really is no secret. So success leaves clues, and we know exactly what successful agents do every day. They grow their business and they run their business. So the goal of our time here is to model what successful agents do every day and show you how to do it. All right, so here, the next slide shows us the roadmap for the day. So first, we'll define what a value proposition is. Then we'll explore the 3 essential aspects of the service we provide. And then we'll dig into your unique qualities of value. And finally, craft your powerful value proposition. So we're hoping that after this 1-hour module, you'll be able to get into your daily success habits. Okay, so let's look at this slide. Thanks, Marlene. So a value proposition is a simple and precise description of the benefits the customer will get from working with you. So it should clearly convey all the things you do to earn the fee you charge. And your value proposition is a covenant between you and the customer. So how will having prepared your value proposition help you move from leads to contracts to closed? What do you guys think? How will having an understanding of your value proposition help you to move through the process from leads to contracts to closed?
Having an understanding of your value, yourself?
Your value proposition, what value you bring.
I think having an understanding of that really is one of the most important things, because if you're meeting with a friend, you have to have that identified. And it's happened to me a few times, and I was talking in a meeting that it's really hard because it starts to drift away. So if you have the value proposition and what you're there for, even though they're your friends, you can still finish your presentation and do what you were there for, because you're showing your value, you're telling them, you're showing, and you're pretty clear on your value.
Right. That's a really good point. And clarity for your clients and your friends is one thing. Clarity for your own understanding, so you know where you're coming from, I think is also very important, right?
I think it sets an expectation on what they're going to get from you.
Absolutely. That's a really good point. If you are able to communicate what your value proposition is, then they know exactly what to expect from you. And you have to remember that too, like this is your promise to them, right? So you better have clarity on what your value proposition is too, so that you know what you're promising to others and can deliver on that. Absolutely, your brand. Thank you. All right, so let's see. So let's go to 3 aspects of service. The next slide. So when Gary Keller was researching for the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, he noted that every top producing agent he spoke with had a deep and almost inherent sense of service. You cannot grow a real estate business if you don't prioritize your client's experience above all else. A stellar experience is how you earn your commission and get referrals. We've identified 3 aspects of service: know the underlying purpose of real estate, a compelling value proposition, and fiduciary. Together, these aspects guarantee that your clients will have the best possible real estate experience. All right, so what is the underlying purpose of real estate? So it's different for buyers and sellers. Does anyone have an idea? What is the underlying purpose of real estate? Let's start with for buyers.
For buyers to get the best price to purchase a house, for sellers to get the most try the most for selling?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so for buyers, it's about finding them the right home at the best price in the right time frame and with the least amount of problems, right? And for sellers, it's about netting them the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of problems. Basically, that you're there to alleviate their problems. And what happens to your client's buying or selling experience if you don't understand that this is the underlying purpose of real estate?
It could fall through, or they won't refer you again.
Yeah, and all of that points to, you know, ultimately, if the sale falls through or they won't refer you again, it's because you weren't able to solve their problems well, right? So I think a very important portion of what the purpose of real estate is in each of these scenarios for buyers or for sellers is really that with the least amount of problems clause, because ultimately they don't know what problems to foresee. So the more you can be proactive in anticipating those problems for them and helping them to resolve them, hopefully before they even become a problem, the more value you'll have for your clients, right? Carlos, were you going to say something?
No, I was actually thinking something too, and also being clear from the beginning and communicating, because you said communicating, I thought that was really important, because sometimes you're dealing with people that have their own ideas. So going in and telling them your value, but also letting them know that you're the professional, because sometimes you let someone else drive and it backfires and you get blamed. Right,
absolutely. Yeah, and that's a good point. You know, you are the professional. You have a higher, you do have the fiduciary responsibility, right? So the more you understand, the more you come from learning throughout your growth period, the more experience that you can bring into each transaction and the more knowledge you can bring in so that you can protect your clients and they feel protected. And, you know, hopefully won't try to drive the bus too much. You always will have, you know, clients like that. I have one right now, but, you know, she's very hands-on and wants to micromanage, but, you know, at the same time, like I find myself just being her therapist and just calming her down all the time. And the more she realizes that, okay, you know, we've got this, the more she can, you know, breathe. Right. So a lot of times it's our job to just kind of de-escalate at the end of the day and just bring some reassurance to our clients. All right. Okay, so let's see. Let's go into value proposition. So speaking of our value proposition, let's define what that is exactly. So your value proposition distills your service offerings into a succinct set of benefits for your client. It states what you do for the client to earn your commission and helps to explain the complexity of what you do. It also helps hold you accountable to high standards, right? So what you guys had mentioned, you know, just that this is the chance to also set expectations. And in the same kind of circle, that also means that you're being held accountable to these standards that you're communicating to your clients as well. So as we reflect on this definition, what do you see as the value of your value proposition? Why is it important enough to be included? Why is it important enough to be included in our 3 aspects of service? What do you think your value proposition is? Actually, that's not what I'm asking. I'm asking, like, what do you see as the value of having a value proposition? Didn't we already talk about that? I think we already talked about that. Let's skip that. All right, so we usually have a loose understanding of how we provide our clients with value. So it's easy to forget that they might understand very little of that value. Your value proposition is what you bring to the experience. Your value proposition statement phrases your skills, expertise, and insights in language that makes them relevant to your clients. So for example, let's say you're fluent in English and Spanish. You may be tempted to simply say, I'm bilingual. That's true, but it doesn't really convey your value to your clients. Instead, what you could say is, I have access to a large pool of potential buyers for your home who are often overlooked by other agents because I'm bilingual, right? I mean, you can explain that. So a lot of times you just really have to paint that picture for people, you know, really explain what that means to them. How is that a benefit to them? So how does changing the phrasing change your client's perception? Anyone?
Yeah, it demonstrates more value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it demonstrates more value, and ultimately it relays to your client exactly how that's going to benefit them, right? Like, okay, how does this apply to me? How does your being bilingual really help me in this process, right? So, okay, so in a moment, we're going to craft your own value proposition statement. But before we do that, I want to talk about the final aspects of service. So the final aspect of service, looking at functionary versus fiduciary. Merlin, is this another slide? We're talking about functionary versus fiduciary. Yeah, perfect, thank you. Yeah, that one. Mm-hmm. So the third and final aspect of service is fiduciary. So what is a fiduciary and how is it different than a functionary? Let me just tell you. So let's go way back to middle school English class. Fiduciary is both an adjective and a noun. So as an adjective, it refers to something dealing with trust, especially relationships. You have a fiduciary duty to your clients to protect their best interests during what will likely be the largest and most frightening transaction in their life. As a noun, fiduciary refers to the person who has a fiduciary obligation. You are your client's fiduciary. A functionary is one who completes tasks for the client, whereas a fiduciary completes tasks and goes beyond by placing their client's interests ahead of all others, even their own. Please, please, please. Like, I have a lot of, there are so many, I don't want to disillusion you guys, but look, there are a lot of agents who will put their own interests before their clients. And that is one of my biggest pet peeves. So, you know, just remind yourself that these people your clients are trusting you with the largest, most significant asset of their lives, probably. You know, it's your job, and you have both an ethical duty and and one that you could get sued for if you don't put their client's interests ahead of all others. So it's really, really important that you always keep that in mind. You know, one transaction now is not worth jeopardizing your whole career over. So please, you know, be careful about that. Yes, Lance?
Yeah, do you think it's possible to work both sides of the deal and be doing a fiduciary, doing your fiduciary duties?
That's a good question. So it's one that, you know, people debate all the time. There are some states where you cannot represent both sides. In California right now, you still can. I think you have to take a hard look at yourself and really ask yourself if you can do that, because if you are representing both sides, you have to be fully transparent with both sides, right? And make it more of like a meeting of the mind situation. That's not always possible. And if you feel like you really can't get yourself to do that and trust yourself to do that, then you really should bring someone else on to, you know, handle that. It's okay if, you know, there's some referral fee associated with that. But, you know, you have to kind of decide on that on your own. Like for me, it kind of just depends on the transaction. You know, if there have been some clients who will tell me they do not want me to represent both sides. And it's probably because there's something significantly wrong with their property. And for some reason, they're weird about that. Even though we disclose everything, you know, I advise them to write everything in the disclosures, but there's something about it that makes them uneasy. And so in those situations, I don't. I can be fair with both sides, but that means like telling both sides everything. And then it's just a collaborative effort. You know, we're just working together to get to the finish line, right? But if you don't believe that you can, then don't do it. You know, don't risk that. Right? Okay, and let's see. Let's go to the next slide. So now we're going to talk about your value proposition. We're going to look at some data around what clients want, and we're going to get a big picture look at our current real estate market, and we'll discuss some ways that technology can boost your value proposition. So on your participants guide, pages 4 to 6, you'll want to reflect on your value. Before we do that, however, I want you to look at page 5 in your participant guide. There's a space to write about yourself, your strengths, and your perspectives. So take a few minutes and write down those responses. This will be the beginning of what we use in crafting your unique value proposition. What does that look like for you guys? What's on, can I see page 5? Can someone hold that up if they have it? Oh, maybe it's not printed on. Okay, never mind. Oh, thanks, Maury. Oh, it's just a bunch of lines. Okay, cool. Thanks, Maury. It's very different over Zoom. If you guys could do me a favor, on the reactions on Zoom at the bottom right, if you could give me a thumbs up when you're done, that would be helpful so that we can move on to the next thing.
I think when I'm thinking of like defining value, I know a lot of neighborhoods I've looked at, I noticed that some agents have been in those neighborhoods for decades and have a strong hold on those neighborhoods. As a new agent, do you have any suggestions? Is it hard to sell in a neighborhood where you have, you know, agents that are very entrenched, that are very well known in the neighborhood?
I think it really depends, again, on what your value proposition is. You know, I've definitely seen that people have had a strong hold on a neighborhood for a long time, and then all of a sudden they don't. You know, it just, you can break in. It's just, you need to know, you have to have a strong understanding of what your value proposition is and where your clients are coming from. You know, if you're geographic, if you're going to go through like the geographic farming method, then, you know, you're going to have to figure out how to break into that territory. If your business is more relationship based, then a lot of times that doesn't matter. It's easier to break in because if someone already knows you and trusts you because they have that prior relationship with you, then they may not care if someone else is the neighborhood specialist, right? I think the real estate industry has definitely changed in that, you know, you have to find your way of getting in, if that makes sense. Yeah. All right. Okay, how are you guys doing with your exercise there, reflecting on your value? Anyone want to share anything?
Well, I just wrote down a bunch of words.
Okay, great.
So I wrote positive, personable, listens to clients, guides them through the process, always available and responsive, has access to an entire experienced team, and adept at negotiating. Good,
great. Okay, all those keywords and phrases will help you in crafting your value proposition. Anyone else want to share? Okay, all right, so let's look at the next slide, what buyers want. So here's a look at what buyers want most from a realtor. So this graph covers the top 3 responses and categorizes everything else as other. You can see the complete list in your student handout on page 6. So why are we talking about this in our conversation about your value proposition? So, you know, like very clearly, knowing what people want makes it easier to create a compelling value proposition, right? You need to know your audience. So on page 6, let's look at this together. So keep in mind that these are results from buyers being asked to state the one thing that is most important to them. Most buyers need help with paperwork or learning about their neighborhood, but when forced to give just one answer, this is what they said. 52% said that they want help finding the right home to purchase. 23%, oh, I'm sorry. Is that right? What is the coloring on that? Can you guys see more clearly on your end? Or maybe, yeah, 52%.
Yep, 52%.
23% is other. Yeah, 23% is other. 14% is help buyer negotiate the terms of sale. And 11% is help with price negotiations. All right. Does any of that surprise you? All right.
That would be my top 3.
Yeah, there you go.
Get me a home,
right.
get me the right terms.
Yeah, exactly. Help me negotiate, right? Okay, awesome. All right, so let's look at what buyers value, the next slide. So when asked the most important factor in choosing a real estate agent, these were the top 5 answers from buyers. You have the complete list in your student handout too. Marlene, can we get the next slide, please? Thank you. So 31% stated the reputation of an agent is what they valued. 22% said other. 19%, they wanted an agent who's honest and trustworthy. 15% want an agent who's a friend or family member. And 13% valued agents' knowledge of the neighborhood. Okay, well, maybe that helps to answer your question, Jenny. Maybe 13% is knowledge of the neighborhood. So it seems like the leading factor is the agent's reputation, and then other, and then honest and trustworthy. All right. So any ahas from this? All right, pretty straightforward. So if there is an attribute you have that you now know from the data is something that buyers value, would that be a good thing to include in your value proposition?
Absolutely.
Yes, right? Trick question.
I'm taking all these.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So let's practice taking these attributes and putting them into a client-centered language. Hopefully you'll get some ideas for when you craft your own value proposition. So select one of the factors from the buyer's value on page 6 and rephrase it into language that explains its value to the buyer. So example is, agent is honest and trustworthy. Could be, you can depend on me to help you make the best decisions, or I will work to serve your best interests, right? Yeah, because one of the values here was agent is honest and trustworthy. So these are some examples of how you could work that into your value proposition. All right, so let's look at your guide and note any skills or services that you can offer that align with what buyers want. All right, do you guys want to take a couple minutes to work on this?
Like, I think maybe as a new agent, like when I went to look at houses recently for myself, for our family, the agent that has a stronghold in this neighborhood, he never even responded to my offer. When I toured the house, they didn't know half the questions about the house that I asked. So maybe as a new agent, I could at least offer that, like know the house, know a lot of aspects of it, and respond to everyone that submits an offer.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great observation. Just remember that, yeah, it's good that you're experiencing it as a buyer and seeing how the agents respond. Just remember that, you know, most buyers will not know what the response is from the other agent, right? So, you know, think about also like what some of these values are that we covered, like what people are looking for, and you know, how you can work that into your value proposition too. You're right though, yeah, like it's good that you're learning from other people's mistakes and observing what gaps you can fill.
Well, I was feeling good about, oh, I could offer more than that. But then when I went to like their website and then I realized how much they do for the community, then I felt a little bit intimidated again. Like, oh, wow, I'm like, no one knows me.
Right. But yeah, everyone starts from no one knows me. Right? It's just a matter of time. And, you know, if you're able to, you know, persevere and just keep in it, like that's the thing. One aha from my experience in real estate is that I had, you know, I'm a very database oriented person. Most of my clients come from like some part of my life. And there was one time I was just touching base with them. I think I was wishing them happy birthday on Facebook Messenger or something. And the friend asked me, hey, are you still in real estate? And in my mind, I was like, what else would I be doing? And of course, I'm still in real estate. You know, I thought that was just the funniest question for someone to ask me. But it made me realize that, you know, people are so used to so much changeover as far as like people's careers go, that if they don't remember that you're in real estate, they may not know that you're in real estate, right? So it's kind of your job to stay relevant, stay connected to them so that they know that that's still what you do. And the other aha that I got from that was that, you know, probably, you know, real estate is a tough career. Like, I won't sugarcoat that. And there's so much turnover in it. People come into the business, they leave it. And, you know, because of that, like if you're able to power through and stick with it, you'll continue to gain experience. You have to work hard. You can't just, you know, be licensed and do nothing. You know, that won't get you anywhere. But, you know, if you can fight your way through and just stick with the career for a long time, the longevity will naturally bring you clients as well. because people will remember you as time goes by. They're like, oh, this person's still in real estate. You know, things must be going well. And, you know, it's just that it's the multiple touches of your name associated with real estate that will remind people, right? So, yeah, I think, why were we talking about this again? What did you ask? How did we get on this topic? Did I answer a question that you had?
I don't remember. I think that's where I'm at. So I keep bringing up the same kind of topic because I think that's where I'm at. But because I was feeling really positive because I closed some like pretty good leases. And then when I thought, oh, I should look at I thought, oh, it'd be easy to transition over to buyers or sellers. I don't know. Like, I felt a little intimidated when I was looking at other agents.
First of all, don't compare yourself to others. I think that's like the worst thing you can do when you're getting started too. Because you really, like, everyone has enough insecurities that you don't need to be reminded of your insecurities. So just, you know, keep your head down, learn as much as you can, be of service to people, and just do it. You know, don't go looking at other people and like, oh, what are they doing? You know, you can do it later on, but for now, like, just focus on what matters, because, you know, you don't need that negative perception either. And it's all perception. You'd be surprised how much people put into the world where you think that they're doing a lot of business and they really are not. So there's no point in intimidating yourself that way. All right.
Good advice.
Yeah, thanks. If there's nothing else that you take from this, at least that. Don't compare yourself to others. All right, so what sellers want. So let's look at the next slide, Marilyn. Thank you. So we've looked at what buyers want. Now here's what sellers want most from a realtor. This graph covers the top 5 responses and categorizes everything else as other. You can see the complete list in your student handout, which is on page 8. So what sellers want. So let's see, 20% of them want help with marketing their home to potential buyers. And another 20%, they're saying they want help with pricing their home competitively. And then 19% want help in selling their home within a specific time frame. 14% want help finding the buyer for their home. 14% want help with negotiations and dealing with buyers. And 13% said other. So help seller market home to potential buyers, okay? Help price home competitively. Help sell home within specific time frame. Help find buyer for home. Help with negotiation and dealing with buyers, and other. Okay, great. So note any skills or services that you can offer that align with what sellers want based on this graph. You can do all that, right? Yeah, you can do all that, don't worry. All right, and then what sellers value. So next slide. So when asked the most important factor in choosing a real estate agent, these were the top 4 answers from sellers. Oh, there's a typo here. From sellers, you have the complete list in your student handout. So let's look at this list. So people want, what sellers value, other is the biggest category. And then reputation of agent. What's the next one? Agent's experience, okay. And then agent is honest and trustworthy. Agent is a friend or family member. Okay, and then we talked about other already. So you should think about reputation, that the agent is honest and trustworthy, that they're familiar, so a friend or family member, and experience. Okay, that's what they value. Any ahas there? Okay.
Yeah, any ideas what the other may be?
What do you think some of the others may be? What would you care about as a seller? Maybe negotiations, like help with them. They value strong negotiator. You hear that a good amount. Some sellers have told me before, like contract knowledge is important to them because they think that, of course, most sellers have some idea of what it takes to sell a home, but they don't know the contracts, right? So they need help in that area. What people have also mentioned is that they need help with figuring out, what is worth fixing in their home, like what they'll actually get an ROI on in preparing their home. What else? Any other ideas? Yeah. Okay. So let's work through the skills and services that you can offer and rephrase them into language that explains your value to the seller. So if you're here, it's probably because you're new to the industry. So that's really great. And everyone starts somewhere. In your guide, there's a place to record your opportunities for growth. I want you to use that space, not to beat yourself up because you don't have 15 years of real estate experience, but to record some areas you'd like to improve for your clients. And it could be something you could do differently today, or it could be a 3-year goal. You guys see that on page 9?
Does KW have like, if we had a seller and we're going to market their home, do we have marketing materials, or how would I approach that? But I do have a client that I lease to that her parents might sell their house. That she told me yesterday she would hire me as her agent if they decide to sell their house, but I wouldn't know even like how to market it.
So there is, well, first of all, there's the MLS, right? So once you input it into the MLS, then it goes out to the different websites. That's that's the most important place. You can post on Facebook. You can create like property flyers, send out e-newsletters, call different agents. If you look on Command, I think Command in the designs or something like that, there's a seller guide or a listing presentation guide or something like that. Read through that to give you an idea. But I think also through Ignite, you're going to learn.
Michael Lewis is pretty good too.
Yeah, Michael Lewis is a great resource.
Go through the website.
Yeah. Just in the beginning, the more you can just like sort through things and read the materials, even if it's like a guide that you would give the sellers or buyers, read them so you know what it is that you're telling them, so that you at least have some idea of what you should be doing, and then that will be like the first stop in figuring all of that out. And also during Ignite, you're going to learn as well. All right. Okay. So, if you guys don't want to do that exercise, then who are your competitors? Real estate has undergone significant changes in the past few years, and investors have come in with the intent to disrupt the industry, and they have. iBuyers are driving down commission prices, and some companies are moving toward eliminating the agent altogether. So who are your local competitors? Who are you competing with for clients in your commission? Who do you think? This is not to discourage you by any means, but you just need to be aware. Ideas?
I think agents obviously are your competitors. I think the online platforms can be your competitors too, especially for young people, going to Redfin and all the others, Zillow, so forth.
Okay. So what is your value proposition? Why would someone choose you over these competitors?
Well, I've always answered the question because I've heard that before. Well, what do I need an agent for? And I say, it's not about finding the home. It's about getting you into the home. So you need an agent for negotiating skills. You need an agent who has the escrow company, the title company, the vendors, that are dealing with them every single day, as opposed to someone like you being a one-off. If you know, somehow found those people, they're not giving you the time of day. You don't have the experience of what it takes to get you into that home.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good point. I mean, what I tell my clients is that, you know, very honestly, chances are you're going to find your own home. And, you know, that's very true. Like, buyers have so many resources nowadays to be able to look online and, you know, find which houses they want to see. So I tell them point blank that you're probably going to be the first one to see your home online. And then it confuses them a little bit. And then I tell them, but that's the easy part. Finding a house is the easy part. Getting your offer accepted, knowing how to craft an offer to get your offer accepted is a whole nother ball game. That's a very difficult task in and of itself. And then it's being able to protect you and know how to protect you and negotiate on your behalf, to make sure you're not making a mistake during the, you know, escrow process and getting to the finish line. Getting to the finish line, like Maury had mentioned, getting you into the home is really, really the big task. That's what you need an agent for. It's not in finding a house. All right. So hopefully that helps. And let's see, how do you counter these value propositions? So we can talk about, you know, highlighting being a fiduciary, local knowledge, and creating experiences. You know, creating as smooth an experience as possible for you. You know, it is a huge undertaking to sell your property, to help you to buy a property. And my job is to create as positive an experience as possible by helping you to protect, or helping to protect you through this process, because I know what there is to protect you from, right? And that's why you need to know the contract. All right. Any other questions on that front before we go into technology? No? Okay. So next slide, your technology. So here's a great thing about being with Keller Williams. The company is committed to adding to your value proposition. In today's market, what that means investing in technology that propels your business forward. We've already talked about Command and the KW app. Now I want to focus on tech that affects your clients. So Agent Sites, sorry, I just need to keep an eye on the time. So Agent Sites allows contacts to save searches for homes, allows agents to create searches on behalf of contacts and clients. Individualized IDX sites create personalized landing pages for your clients that allow them to see activity in the neighborhood and areas they care about. And KW app is an end-to-end consumer app that uses the power of AI, machine learning, and your expertise to communicate, provide transaction transparency, and remind clients of your value well after they've closed on a home. So let's look at page 11 of your guide. So I guess there's also a website. I don't know if you can, do you see that on your end? Anyway, there's like a tech-enabled agent link that they've provided for you to review what pieces of technology will strengthen your value proposition. What do you know about Command and these different technology pieces that we've gone over that you think would help you in your value proposition? Have you guys explored any of that?
Well, definitely your app. You know, everybody should have downloaded their app, and I've given it to clients. And I say you can search on my app, and then it also pings you and lets you know what they're searching for, what areas, so you can follow up.
Good. Okay.
Oh, really? I didn't know
clients have been using that.
Did that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. When you look in Command, there's the little icon on the top that looks like it's in the shape of a bell, and if there's a red dot on it, that means you have a message there. And you just click it and it'll say, oh, Jenny was looking at Santa Monica.
Oh, wow.
And it'll show you what they're looking for. Or if somebody registers on your site or on your app, it'll ping you and say, you know, Ember is a new registrant. And once you click it, it goes right into your contacts.
Oh, I didn't know it did all that.
Yeah, all the technology through KW, they're designed to be connected to you so that if you share them with your clients, you'll be able to receive a message that, you know, they've been active on there and will tell you what they've been doing.
I think
and it gives them a line of communication too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's where like I've had a learning curve, is because there is lots of technology, and it's great technology to lay a foundation, but my goodness, like there's so much reading and building. Yeah. So do we have is what is his name? John Lewis or
Michael Lewis?
Michael Lewis, is he the guy that helps you get up to speed on all of that, or you just kind of have to plow through it?
I would say the first, plow through knowing what everything is. Like click around, watch videos so you know what everything is. First step beyond that, well, maybe while you're doing that, reach out to Scott Leroy. If you go on Scott Leroy's website, like we pay them to help our agents get set up, at least on a preliminary basis. So for KW agents, there's a page where you can fill out a form, and then they'll set up what you need, at least from as a foundational step. Yes, Lance. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, what are some of the benefits of the KW app versus like a lot of the other apps that people can use for searching houses?
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, ultimately, the point of the KW app is that if you can monitor the activity for your clients and your people who you share that link with, because it downloads under your umbrella, basically, right? So you'll have some insight as to what people are looking at. That's the only real benefit. I personally don't use it. I don't know. I haven't really looked into like the functionality of it. But with my clients, they're already used to Redfin and Zillow. So part of the expectations that I set during my consultation are, look, I'm going to set you up on an MLS portal. You'll receive notifications on a daily basis. Use that to supplement whatever searches you're doing on your own anyway, because I know you're looking on your own as well. And they're already used to, Redfin or Zillow. So I'm okay with that. And I just let them know that, anything that you see on Redfin or Zillow, if you're more comfortable on those platforms, just send them to me and I'll set up appointments for you. So it just, kind of has to be your call how you want to structure that. I just find that people are already looking there anyway. So instead of making them learn something else, I just let them use it and just make sure that I stay in front of that.
Do you use KW for your website?
I do not. So I had the Free Playster website that used to be associated with KW. And then after, setting it all up, then the contract, I guess KW stopped contracting with Playster. So because I haven't rebuilt it, I just pay for Playster separately, right. So that I wouldn't have to rebuild it at the moment. That's in the works, one of my projects to work on. But it is a good starting point. So whatever KW has as the free website, I would start there because it's already connected to your account.
And the support team at Scott Leroy Marketing is excellent at helping you put your website together. They actually built my entire website.
Oh, I didn't know they did
on
that.
KW. That's yeah, cool. You know what? I was so detailed with here's what I want to do and I need help and how do I do this? And they just said, we could just do it for you if you want. I was like, great, go do it.
That's fantastic.
Maury, really what is your website? I tried to look for it the other day, but couldn't find it.
It's MauryLeitnerRealtor.com, which is MAURY. Oh, you can see my name, right? LEITNER Realtor.com.
I set mine up with KW like the first week, but it didn't look like, I didn't think that they could register on the website. So I started looking for a different but I guess
they absolutely can. I have every page you can register, you know,
that's
contact
awesome.
me, register. And just remember, if you go there, my name is at the top on the right, and that's the drop down, and then you can go to all the different pages.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, great. So page, let's see. So let's craft your value proposition. So on your guides, page 12 to 13. So remember, your value proposition is a unique, memorable, and persuasive statement that expresses the true value of working with you, says what you're doing to earn your commission, and holds you accountable to high standards. Let's see. Do you guys want to write your value proposition? Maybe take a stab at it. Like, what is your value proposition? Write one sentence, max 2 sentences. It'll take a few minutes to do that because I'd like you guys to walk away with something tangible to go off of. And it's going to be a work in progress. You'll have to revisit it, you know, tweak the language, I'm sure. But one, I was listening to, my MAPS coach recommended that I listen to this guy talk, I forget his name right now, but he basically wrote a book about brand story, and that's his whole thing. So his way of positioning a value proposition is, first of all, you need to know your value proposition, because this is your elevator speech that you give time and time again whenever anyone asks you what you do. Right? And everyone asks you what you do. So his idea is figure out what problem you solve for people. Like, what is a problem that you solve for people, and how do you solve that? And what does that do for people, right? Like, what is it? How does that affect them in their life? So if you think of it in that way, then it's super helpful. Let me see if I can pull up an example for you guys while you guys are working on your value proposition. Story. I think it's Donald Miller. So a brand story is a cohesive narrative that encompasses the facts and feelings that are created by your brand. Unlike traditional advertising, which is about showing and telling about your brand, a story must inspire an emotional reaction. All right, so let's see, how to tell. If you guys have one, a value proposition that you want to share, just let me know.
I can share whenever you're ready.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I'm still tweaking it, but one that I've been using lately is bringing my Midwest values to the City of Angels real estate market.
No, I love that. That's a fun slogan. Good, good, good. I can't find this examples, 3 examples of clear. Okay, so one brand story is Leaders for Leaders provides fun and interactive team building and leadership development programs that will make your next corporate event unforgettable. Right, like what problem do they solve, and what's the happy ending for this company that it makes their it'll make their next corporate event unforgettable, right? It's supposed to have some kind of a dreamy feeling to it. All right, anyone else? Now, one more person who will share their brand story would be helpful, or their value proposition. Otherwise, I can tell you what Donald Miller's is, and he, for his company, which is this story brand, is actually what it's called. Let me see. Okay, so Story Brand, what they have on their website is, clarify your message and grow your business. We'll help you take the guesswork out of marketing so your business can grow. Right, so basically they're solving the problem of people, second guessing or wondering what it is that they should be doing for marketing, and helping them take a hold of that so that their business can grow. Business can grow is the happy ending to that. Right, does that make sense? What problem are you solving? How are you solving? And what is the happy ending to that? Okay, if no one else wants to share, then we will move on. Okay, so now you have a unique value proposition statement. And if you don't already, then keep working on that so that you are very clear with what branding and messaging you're putting out into the world every time someone asks you, what do you do for a living, right? Okay, so now that you have that unique value proposition statement, let's take a look at what delivering on that statement means. If you say you're going to do it, you do it. So do you recall what KW's stance is on integrity? Okay, so if it wasn't explained previously, integrity is one of our code of ethics for KW. Is that on a slide anywhere? I'm not sure. Anyway, yeah, so distinguish yourself. Perfect. So a value proposition isn't just something you say, it's something you deliver on. So now that you're able to explain your value, how do you apply it? What kinds of knowledge are you expected to have? What kinds of knowledge would truly set you apart from the competition? So your fiduciary role includes being the hyper-local expert for your clients. You should be able to tell them everything they could reasonably want to know about an area that they are invested in. This can include zoning laws, future development plans, ecological changes, etc. And you should also have and exercise more general market knowledge, including what type of market you're in, what direction it's moving in, interest rate trends, etc. This is a business that we're running, right? So there's so many different moving parts as far as like knowledge that you should be acquiring. So just little bits of what you can understand and relay to your clients as useful talking points is great. So our team meetings on Wednesdays when Andy will talk about where the market's heading, like that's really good to listen to so that you at least have one like bite of something that you can communicate to your clients as well, right? And then any other reading that you're doing. So so this continuous drive for knowledge and improvement is part of our 6 personal perspectives. All right, so let's see, if 6 personal perspectives, do you guys know what 6 personal perspectives are? Well, basically it's the activities that are the best practices of all top agents. And one of them is coming from a learning base. All right, and on page 14, it'll tell you, so how do you learn these things? How do you keep your knowledge up to date? So answers for local insights include, attending city planning meetings, attending HOA meetings, reading local newspapers, following neighborhood groups on social media. Are there any other ways that you guys are getting information about neighborhoods? What do you guys read right now?
There's just an app called The Real Deal. It's kind of like Curb. So I do that, and then just hot sheets on the MLS.
Great, that's awesome. There's so much information there, and CAR also has a lot of articles and market stats. I know Michael Lewis has some kind of report that comes out monthly as well.
Yeah,
we're just bombarded
report,
with so much information.
I think it's
Outposts?
the Altos. I think it's ALTOS, and it's on the Michael Lewis site.
Right. Oh, good. Yeah, I think they also email it to us, right?
Yeah, I get it.
The Altos report, yeah. Yeah, so we're bombarded with so much information. So if you can choose like one that you'll keep up to date with, that's good in and of itself, and then start building upon that just to keep updated. Were you gonna say something, Lance?
No, I was just agreeing with Maury.
Oh, fantastic. Thanks.
Social media is also really good because I follow realtors that I like, and just to learn what they're doing in the areas that I want to be in.
Right.
How they're presenting it.
Good point. All right, great. Well, thanks for sharing, you guys. And what allied, think about your allied resources and what you can leverage to improve your client experiences. Having contacts for stagers, landscaping, cleaning, carpet cleaning, home inspectors, movers. We have a vendor list on that KW masters folder, the master folder, the one that was shared with us. There is a vendor list on there if you need somewhere to start with vendors, but building those relationships with allied resources is very helpful. It's surprising how helpful they can be. I have one flooring guy who I use all the time and have used for years, and he has helped me solve a problem recently where one of my clients who bought with me and used him as a flooring contractor has a neighbor now downstairs who is complaining about noise and interfering with our sale. So I had to, step in there and try to solve this problem. And my flooring guy was just an angel. And I was like, you know what? I feel partially responsible because he did the flooring, even though, he did everything properly, but he just wanted to help us solve this problem because, I work with him all the time, and, he wanted to help his client, who's also my client, right? So they can be great people to have in your back pocket. If you're loyal to these people, then they will help you out when you need also. Okay, so you should also develop relationships with businesses in your town that people might need after they move, like doctors, dentists, hairstylists, pet services, etc. This not only enables you to provide excellent service for your clients after they buy a house, but it also serves as a source for referrals, right? So upholding the standard with allied resources, page 15. Okay. So what are some criteria and standards that you would hold your allied resource partners accountable to? For example, you could have a value proposition that emphasizes the speed at which you can help a seller get their house market ready. And you can work, you can't work with a carpet cleaner who is 3 weeks backlogged, right? So making sure that these allied partners understand that, there are certain expectations that, they need to meet in order to be one of your allied resources. Don't say it like that. It takes some time to build those relationships so that they're willing to they're willing to stand by you and help you to uphold your value proposition, right? But relationships are important no matter what the relationship is and who that's with. This whole business is relationship building with different vendors who are your allied resources, with your clients, with prospective buyers and sellers who come through houses, whatever it may be, and with your colleagues, like the fellow realtors in your community. Like, it's important that you have relationships with them too. So don't be a jerk in one transaction just because you feel like you are entitled to, because that it doesn't do anyone any good. All right. So now that you have a unique value proposition statement and we know what it means to deliver on your value proposition, let's recap and share ahas. What do you guys think? What did you get from today?
Well, I love the surveys that they did of what buyers and sellers are looking for, because it's interesting. Some of those things they're looking for are words that I used in my Instagram bio and on my website, which is funny because, well, I won't go into detail. It's funny because some of it, I just thought maybe I'm sounding a little hokey. I said something about, I had some line about how I treat clients like family and family like friends or something, and then clients become friends, and yet it's in what both buyers and sellers are looking for, so maybe it's not so hokey. So that was a big aha.
Absolutely. Good helps to validate what you've put out there already. Good. All right, so one thing I want to make sure that you guys are aware of, look, in the beginning, like, you just want to know what the thing is. You don't know what you don't know, right? So at the end of the day, like, the more you can explore command, explore connect, and you can access connect from command. So if you haven't logged into command yet, log into command and start clicking around, because you'd be surprised, most of the questions that you have, the answers are right there. So the more familiar you are with the platform and connect and all the information that is in there, the more helpful it will be. I remember when I first started, I would just spend so much time just clicking through different videos of listing presentation. I would literally just watch two people going through a listing presentation, but just that exposure to what that can look like helped set some kind of foundation in my mind, and it felt a little less intimidating. Of course it's intimidating no matter what, the first couple of listing presentations you go to, but at least you know what is going to happen versus going into it green and being like, I have no idea what I'm supposed to talk about, and I'm going to wing it. But no, like, if you can watch some videos like how to this, how to that, like whatever it may be, and see it play out, that really makes a huge difference in your confidence going into any appointment too. Not even an appointment, any conversation that you go into, because you pick up little things from these videos as well. All right, what other questions? I have, surprisingly, we have 5 minutes left. So, or am I completely off there? Yeah, 5 minutes. Any burning questions? You can take one question.
I have a comment, Tiffany.
Sure.
I love all this. So we're talking about what's your value and all that. And I think at one point I had it, but I've been dealing with my clients. I think I have to change my farm or change the client base, but everybody I deal with, it's just about the money, the listings, they want the highest. They, if somebody cuts a little bit of their commission, that's like all it takes, so the value, I've kind of lost all this because I'm so entrenched in the money aspect of it. Not from my end, but from their end. Have it be investors.
Well, let's take that, yeah. Go ahead.
So that's kind of like, and I want to get back to what's your value, to following these steps. And that's what I got from this. And I need to analyze and figure out new clientele or new farm, or because it just eats away, because it's just about the money. It's about that dollar.
Right. Okay, so it's about the money, but I think you're on the right track in revisiting what your value is, because the more connected you are to what value you bring to your clients, the more you can communicate that to people, and maybe it'll break down some of those walls, or maybe it won't. You know, I think at the end of the day, it really, you need to have that confidence and that clarity on what your value is, so that you're convincing to someone else as well. And they're like, oh yeah, you know, you're right. Because yes, for everyone, it is about the money. It's not unique to your farm. It's not unique to your clients. That is a huge part of buying or selling, obviously, you know, but at the end of the day, like, your clients will buy into you, right? They're buying into you if you can, if you can express to them why you, right? Because if it's about the money, it's not necessarily commission, right? If you can tell them and convince them of that, look, at the end of the day, I hear you, I respect that this is all about the money, and I agree with you, it is all about the money, but commission is not necessarily the way to go about that. Like, I feel confident that I can get you, I can net you the most money because of my experience with the contracts and my ability to negotiate on your behalf and help you position your property both on the marketing aspect and on the pricing side in order to get you the most money at the end of the day. And I bring that expertise in helping to give you the information that you need in order to make those best decisions for yourself, right? Because it's not, like, commission is a very small part of, and not to belittle it, but it is a very small part of what the whole conversation is about money, right? At the end of the day, they don't care about the commission in its entirety. It's what you're able to net them. And people will ask for you can scare them. You can say that people will ask for $50,000 request for repair. You know, like, how is an agent going to navigate that conversation, right? How is your representative going to guide you through that? Because I've dealt with that before, and I know how to work in a collaborative manner that it doesn't become a pissing match, basically, right? Like, that's what it can become if you don't have the right person representing you. And, you know, when that happens, then when it goes wrong, that's when you lose your money. And that's what I'm here to protect you from. Right? And then they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you're right. I didn't even think about a request for repair. Maybe they don't even know what a request for repair is. And then you can explain to them that that's another portion of the whole escrow process. Does that make sense? Yeah, but going back to, you know, what your value proposition is the first step. So I'm glad, and I'm hoping that this will help you create that. All right, guys, if nothing else, then I'm gonna log off here.
This was great. Thank you.
Good, you're so welcome.
Very helpful.
My pleasure, my pleasure. Thank you, Merlin, for helping to facilitate. I don't know if he has audio, but all right, guys, have a great day.
Thank you, Tiffany.
You're very welcome.
You got it. Take care, guys.
Bye.
Thanks, bye.